All right. Hey, friends. Welcome back to Hungry for More. I'm Robin Mons. This is Jennifer Winder, and we are your mindset and nutrition coaches. And we are going to talk about a mindset that I bet you've had, if not have right now, that's kind of holding you back, or it's not helping you at all in this journey of either weight loss or even weight management. And it's this belief: eating healthy is expensive. Okay. That is a belief I know I had. I'm sure you have had, Jennifer, and it keeps many people from making changes. We're like, well, I can't buy everything organic. Produce is so expensive. The supplements I'm supposed to have with losing weight, it's too much. The protein powders, all the things, it just starts to stack up and we feel overwhelmed. And when we feel overwhelmed, what kind of action do we take? Zero.
Zero, or the opposite, like, oh, well, I can't afford it. I'll go the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So action towards, you might have the desire, I want to eat healthier. I want to do this. I know I need to eat foods that are better for my body, but it's just so expensive. And when we think that, you do not make changes at all. And so we're going to address that today because this, like we said, we are mindset coaches, and this is something that does tend to hold us back. So Jennifer, talk about a scenario where you've seen this, where people get into this overwhelm.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because for so many years I coach people on a specific way to eat, right? And with that, some of the things in your home maybe that you didn't normally purchase would be things that, well, that you would need to go purchase to do this. But the issue is, what I noticed happening with a lot of people is they would do like this overhaul, right? So maybe they'd get rid of everything maybe that they just assumed wasn't something they could use. And then they take this whole list and you go to the grocery store. Have you guys ever been like this? Like, I'm going to start next week because this weekend I'm going to get everything I need to start.
Yes.
All of a sudden you're out there and you spend $1,000 on groceries,
Mm-hmm.
a food that you don't, it's just not your normal. And all of a sudden it just sits there. Or does anybody have that health cupboard in their house that has all the different supplements they've bought from different companies or whatnot? There's a lot of great supplements out there. I'm not saying don't use them. I have plenty of supplements I use that I love. But I'm just saying we have a tendency to buy a lot of things that maybe we're not using. Like, it caught our attention, right? Advertising is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And it goes about that way. But I think the biggest thing I hear is it's just so expensive to eat healthy. Like, vegetables are expensive. And I was telling Robin, you always hear that cliche, I don't know, is cliche the right word, but that quote people say of spend the money now or you'll be spending it later. And as silly or as goofy as that sounds, I'm not even saying you have to go out and spend a ton of money. I'm just saying, really, you want to be taking care of yourself now, because if you don't take care of yourself down the road, it is an expensive journey.
Yeah, it will cost you. But yes, the sister belief to this, okay, so it's expensive to eat healthy. The sister belief to this is unless I overhaul everything and everything is healthy, what's the point? Right. And so this is where we want to fix these two things and tweak them in a way that you can see where maybe you can make an upgrade here and there, and also where you can see actually how being a conscious eater may save you money. So let's kind of go into that. How can conscious eating save you money?
Well, the first place we noticed it is we actually, when I'm being conscious, don't eat all day long, right? So gone are the snacks, gone are all the things that I used to have all the time. And snacks, when you buy snacks, prepackaged snacks, they're expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Food in its whole form is actually not expensive. And I'm not telling you don't buy the snacks, but I'm saying when you're eating consciously, you may find you're not hungry all the time and you don't need to eat. And so
you don't need to eat as often.
Not money spent on food because you're just not eating it because it's there.
Yeah, let's just talk about how, what we're doing with conscious eating is differentiating between mind hunger and body hunger. And we're used to feeding both hungers with food. Well, when you start to take care of your needs that are going on and feeling your emotions instead of eating, and you realize, oh, this isn't even hunger going on. This isn't my body asking me to eat. So I'm not going. Every time you're recognizing the mind hunger and you're saying, yeah, I'm not going to eat right now, that's money. That's savings, right? So it doesn't mean you're going hungry, you're eating less in order to save money. You're meeting your needs, you're making sure your body's well nourished, you're not going hungry, but we're cutting out all the excess. And friends, there's a lot of excess. So it's just trimming the excess already that's going to start saving you money.
Right. Absolutely. And I will say this, if you're making a conscious effort to maybe clean up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you are going to bring in some more whole foods. We're not in this episode, we're not really talking about nutrition and that type of thing. There are in the beginning some expenses with that, right?
Yeah.
Initially, but then you have it and you go on. Like if I'll just say use coconut oil, right? If I'm going to use coconut oil, I may go buy a big tub of coconut oil and it may be an expense up front, but then I have it for so long. So those are like very, tangible expenses. But ultimately, I do not find a difference in my grocery bill. If anything, I feel like it saves me money because I am eliminating some things.
Right, exactly. So I think if we were to structure this into a 2-step, right? We kind of like that structure. If we were to structure this into the 2 steps where it doesn't need to be this big expensive thing to eat healthy, we address the first one. Cut the excess
Robin, you cut out.
eating. Stop answering the mind hunger.
Do that one again, because you said we answered the first one and then it froze. We didn't hear the first one.
Okay. All right. So then, sorry. So, okay, we're back. Sorry, technical difficulties. The first one that we talked about already, if we were going to do the 2 steps to this, first one is cut out the excessive eating, which is the mind hungers. So when you recognize it's not your body and it's your mind, you don't answer with food, cha-ching every single time. That may be motivating to you even to be like, I'm saving money every time I do this. Okay. The second thing is, and it's addressing that other mindset we talked about, you do not need a full revamp of your fridge and pantry in order to start to lose weight and to start eating healthier. So you can choose a couple things. You can say, you know what, I'm going to switch out my oil. I'm going to use coconut oil instead of canola oil. And that's the one change you start to make.
Right. And as one thing runs out. So what I did with my children, because I was like, when all my kids were at home, I was like, if I get rid of everything and replace it with everything, I'm going to have a revolt on my hands. Like they are going to be coming after me with pitchforks. And so what I did is when one thing ran out, I replaced it with what I wanted the alternative to be. So gradually over time, one, it was nicer on my bank account. And gradually over time, it's just what it was, right? Alternatives. And I'm saying like, say you wanted to switch to organic on something, but I have all these seasonings that aren't organic. I'm using them till the seasonings are out. And then I buy a new one. I may replace it with that if I choose to.
Yeah. Speaking of organic, I think we get this idea too, like all my vegetables need to be organic. All my fruits need to be organic, all my meat. And, that may be the cleanest, most ideal thing, but here's the truth. Not all of us can afford that. Unfortunately, at least in our country, those are the more expensive foods. And I have certain, things that I've decided I'll buy organic and the rest I buy regular. And I'm still able to take care of my body. I'm still able to manage my weight. And what I did, instead of having this belief that only the top level foods are going to help me be healthy, I just have this belief that my body knows what to do with what I consume. And that if I'm making the best choices, if my intention truly is that energy I'm carrying in me is just this true loving intention to take care of my body, and I'm giving it the best of what I can do, I really do think energetically, my body responds to that and knows what to do. And so we can kind of drop some of those fears that we're not doing it right, or we're not doing it totally clean. And so this probably won't work. Yeah. I'm not able to be pure organic, top to bottom, meat to dairy to fruit.
Everything you do. It's almost impossible here anyway. And the way I tell people to do it is good, better, best.
Yeah.
Pick the best of what works in your budget. Because just like what Robin said, if you're like, oh, well, I can't buy the healthiest anyway, so who really cares? It kind of throws you the same way, right? Like, oh, well, then nothing matters. So you do the best of what you can do, what fits in your budget. There's certain things that I only buy a certain thing of, and there's other things I don't care. It's fine. And so you figure that out for you, and you do what works for you and your budget and your body, and the energy goes a long way with that. So, but do it gradually. You don't have to make this clean sweep, pull out the garbage bag and just throw everything away. And then it can evolve. It doesn't have to be a really expensive thing.
Right. One more little bonus tip for you guys is sometimes on the, wanting to eat more vegetables, wanting to eat healthier and cleaner, we tend to feel like, okay, let's go get let's totally stock my fridge with that. And let me get all the colors of the rainbow, because that's, we're told somewhere we were told that. And one thing that I've learned and that I had to do after doing this so many times and throwing away like an embarrassing amount of food is just going, what about one? what about choosing one leafy vegetable, choosing one that I can cut up, and maybe having something frozen, and just simplifying it where I have access to it, but I didn't spend all this money and fill up. And now I feel so overwhelmed. I don't even know how to put this together when I'm
You end
standing
up
in front
throwing
of
it
the
away,
fridge. Yeah.
right? You end up with slimy zucchinis in your fridge or
Yeah.
all this stuff. Yeah.
So simplifying it in that way is huge, and really dropping again that belief that unless I'm all in, unless it's all perfect, unless everything is healthy that I'm going to be eating, there's no point, or it won't work. That's what you need to pay attention to, and just really believe I can take the best care of me wherever I go and with whatever resources I have. And that is exactly what you will do. You will take the best care of you no matter where you are and no matter what access you have to the foods. And that's really all you need. Your body will respond. That will keep you paying attention. You won't overburden your body with more than what you need. And when you get to that point, you realize the food goes further because you're not stuffing yourself as much, right? So remembering these two steps of paying attention to mind versus body hunger, and also just doing the best with what you have and the resources you've been given, that is enough. And I promise you, your body will respond, your weight will regulate, and you're going to be okay. So it does not have to be this expensive, crazy thing that only certain people have access to. Yeah, I know I felt that way once upon a time.
Nope, you can live within your budget and still be a conscious eater, from the smallest budget to the largest budget.
Absolutely.
You can absolutely do it. I've seen my college kids do it, and it works great. It's the choices you make, and it doesn't have to break the bank. So
exactly.
Okay. Yes. Put it to the test, and good luck.
Thanks, guys.